Don Diego de Vargas Entrada carries on. Then Diego de Vargas comes into Colorado through Castilla County from the south, trying to get away from the Apaches and the Talos Puebloans because he just stole their damn corn. So why did the Spanish come into Castilla County? This is the first Spanish conquistador. This is when the written record of Castilla County begins. 1694, Monday, July 12th. What's going to happen on July 12th, Monday, 1694? Well, let's find out. Emboscada. Oh, okay, Emboscada. Interesting that the Utes give at the break of dawn. Oh, the natives fight back. It's going to be resistance, and they're going to lose. So this is not a revolution. This is not successful, but it is a rebellion. It is a revolt. So at the break of dawn, our romper el alba, and it's reported that the deaths and the outcome of their being appeased and more of the bond of friendships with the Spaniards. Monday, July 12th, 1694. On the 11th, journal error, it was early a.m., July 12th, day of the present month of July of the date and year, the Ute nation attacked the above-mentioned nation, which had been sought by smoke signals previously made to attract them so that they might recognize the Spaniards and me, the said governor and captain general, that they would know of our return to settle the villa of Santa Fe in his kingdom of New Mexico. I, said governor and captain general, had notified Sargento Juarez de Cazares yesterday evening and ordered that at the rise of the morning star, al salir el lucero, the horse and the mule herd should be gathered and brought in so that the royal army might make an early start and have time to get ready. And by virtue of this order being executed by the captain and guard, Eusebio de Vargas, it was a great advantage during the event and surprise attack which the aforesaid Ute nation unexpectedly made. They, having reconnoitred our campfires with their spies on the said night, believed us to be the Indians of this kingdom, and our enemies, the rebels mentioned in these proceedings, the Tiwa, the Tano, the Talos, the Picuris, the Jemez, and the Caris, all with whom the Utes are now at war and were before the rebellion. And because of this, and the slaughter the Pueblos had treacherously inflicted on the Utes, Spanish friends, and the killing of their friars, they have waged war on them with great vigor, saying that until the Spaniards should return again, they would come to the very Pueblos to make war until all were destroyed. For the Pueblos had not only killed the Spaniards, their brothers and friends, but also caused them to leave the kingdom. And so at the time that the Pueblo rebels came in to hunt buffalo, they had used the scheme and ruse to come mounted with suits of armor and leather jackets, and hats made of high ternos de armas, y vestidos con cueras, like those the Spaniards wear, carrying also the firearms they had taken, and even their bugle clarion. And in this guise and scheme they entered this land and present place. And at the times that the Utes had strength of people, they have fought, and they have killed many, and have made the rest run away. They related and told all these things to excuse the attack and furious onslaught they made on the camp, aiming their closed volley of arrows and war clubs. Su cargo, Zerata de Jaris, e Macanazos at it from all sides. There is no doubt that they're finding most of our force awaken up, with the horse herd at hand, ready for each man to get his ready for the trip, was the reason and essential circumstance which prevented these Utes from killing many of the people. For it was not even the break of dawn, rompida el aurora, when the furious clamor fell, as had been said on all the royal camp, the horse herd and mules being nearby with their guard, es suandra de guardia. They could not drive them off, and since we had come looking for them and did not believe they could be another kind of enemy, we tried on our own part not to start hostilities, but only to defend ourselves and hold off the attack, talking to them and telling them that we were the Spaniards and their friends, not believing for the reason given above, they charged with more force, judging we were afraid. And even when we did not fire, they were still convinced that we were the rebellious Indians, their enemies. And thus our consideration put us in obvious danger, giving them more confidence and courage to come in among the shelters, the Los Ranchos of our royal army and troops, when all the Spaniards were armed and many of them mounted. Some volleys of shots were finally fired at them because 6 of our own men had fallen wounded, and it was now necessary to fire in our defense. And so with this moderate discharge, 8 of them killed. Realizing the strength with which resistance had been made, they decided to clear out of the camp, taking to flight, during which many were wounded because of the obstacle of crossing the river to which they had taken. And finding themselves safe on the other side, they came to their senses, and daylight now being clear, they waved a buckskin vinagamuza in sign of peace, yelling in their language, Anshe, Palche, Anshe, Palche, P-A-U-I-C-H-E, Pauishe, Anshe, Pauishe, which means brother. Anshe means brother, and Pauishe means friend. Pauishe, Anshe, Pauishe, brother, friend, Pauishe, Anshe, Pauishe. Those of our camp natives of the land recognized them to be Utes, not only in their words, but also in the appearance of their faces, shields, tamales, and dress. And so they, our natives, answered them with gestures, because they understood them, for they too communicate with them. Because there was no interpreter, it was necessary to resort to gestures and pantomime, and they made a great show of joy as soon as they were sure that we were Spaniards. Then, without showing regret about the above recorded damage that was done to them, joyful, peaceful, complacent, they came to us with as much confidence as if war had not been made. And I received and treated them kindly, Los Agasaje, giving them corn that they esteemed valuable, such as trinkets for hats, alhajas de sombreros, and a wool poncho, cotton de bayeta, knives and ribbons and such. And the rest of my men of the royal army did the same, giving them some of the dried meat, zazina, and meat and corn that they had, and also gave to the Capitan de la Guerra, who was prominent among them, a horse in recompense and payment for the death of another brother of the Capitan de la Guerra, the one who came in the lead and was one of the first to receive a shot near the camp of the royal ensign. My said notary of government and war, who was with it, shot him. All generally in the said camp acted with great courage, fulfilling their obligations, as did the Capitanes de Campana, Eusebio de Vargas, and one O'Gwen, and the Captain del Presidio, and of the militia. To all I gave thanks in the name of His Majesty, and we thank the Divine Mother, La Divina, amazed at the outcome and in achieving our aim after the fight and war. One of the Indians, content to be friends with us, helped to heal our wounded, and we could have killed them all and captured their women and children, Chusma de Mujeres, whom they had brought with them. We refrained from doing it, always believing that they were Utes. Their number was seen to be about 300 in all. When about to return to their rancheria, they told us as they took their leave that they had much trade goods, rescate, and the clothing of the country, ropa de la tierra, buckskin, urging us to go there. We replied by signs, showing them the loads of provisions we were going to take to the villa, and that by our tracks they could go there to see us. So that the said success may be of record, I signed with the said military leaders jointly with my Secretary of Government and War, Don Diego de Vargas Zapata, Lux and Pons de Leon, Antonio Jorge Diego Arias de Quiros, Antonio Bolverde, before me Alfonso Real de Aguilar. Alfonso Real de Aguilar, that motherfucker, steals the Cayamunga Pueblo, the fucking land and the water and all that shit. They killed 11 at the beginning of the Entrada, and then they're going to steal all the Cayamunga Pueblo. Steal the land, steal the house, steal the water, steal every fucking bit of it. And then that damned Aguilar didn't even know how to fucking farm it, and he's going to have to leave it because he can't make it profitable. So people have been living there for about 700 fucking years, right? Or maybe, I don't know, 300-400 years before he got there. They've been living 300 or 400 fucking years. That motherfucker gets here, and he don't even know how to live for a day. Jesus fucking Christ. So the Utes did right. The Talos They resisted. The 7 Taos are going to get killed. 11 Cuyamonga Puebloians have been killed. 7 of the Apache/Taos Pueblo, because the Apache and the Taos Pueblos are essentially best friends. The Taos Pueblo and the Apaches, and maybe even the Pecos Pueblo, because Don Juan de Ye is going to switch sides. He's going to go over to the Taos Puebloan people, but they hid up in the mountains while the Spaniards, they didn't kill them, but they stole all their food, they stole all their corn. And it's summertime. What are they going to eat for the winter? What are the people of Taos and the Apaches, Del Hacho, what are they going to eat for the winter? So the Apaches and the Taos Pueblo are fighting Don Diego de Vargas, and they push him up into Castilla County, Colorado. Then they go up to San Luis and come around, and then they cross the Rio Grande. And then they crossed the Rio Grande, and then they hunted buffalo the day before, so they're having a nice buffalo hunt, right? And just enjoying themselves. And then after they scared the buffalo away, the next day they get Emboscada. They got emboscaded by the Utah people. And the difference between the Taos and the Apache, Del Hacho, and the Utes and you have Pueblo people, and then you got the Plains people. You got the Plains people who were nomads. They followed the herd. So that was, you know, their food source. The goddamn Spaniards just scared their food source off. So they did an emboscada, and I think 8 of the Utes are going to get killed. So how much blood? The Utes, they bled for Conejos County. They bled for Conejos County. The Apache and the Taos Pueblo, they bled for New Mexico. The Cuyamonga, the Cowabunga Pueblo, they bled for New Mexico. They bled for their Pueblo. They bled for their house and their village. When I look back on history, the motherfuckers that are just kissing the Spanish ass after they're sitting there doing all this bullshit, I don't like those people. I like the ones that stand up and say, fuck this shit. This looks like you're going to try to genocide everybody. Hey, conquistador, imperialist son of a bitch, you're just over here to rob and rape and murder and just do and take or whatever the hell. No, you get the fuck out of here. Get the goddamn... That's why I like Tecumseh. That's why I like Blue Jacket and Little Turtle and, you know, the Cuyamonga and the Cherokee and the Yuchi and the Seminole and the Lenape and the Kiowa and the Chickasaw and Choctaw and, let's see here. Those are 3 fires up there in Minnesota. You had Tiwa and the Towa and the Tanos and the, you know, you heard what they said, the Picuris, the Tiwa, the Towa, and the Tanos. I think Santa Fe is sitting on the village of the Tanos people. So Santa Fe, there's some rich people in Santa Fe, but a lot of poor. They're sitting on top of the Tanos village. So just like that Aguilar tried to do to that Cuyamonga Pueblo, well, I guess Santa Fe was successful. R.I.P. Tecumseh. R.I.P.